what was mindset when you cheated?
You're asking me?
We are breaking down the Kardashians Season 4, Episode 4 trailer. Hey everyone, it's Hannah Fletcher and welcome back to Shared News. We are going to break down the trailer for the latest episode of the Kardashians, which will be out this Wednesday on Hulu. Now, we're going to break down the trailer, but before we get into it, in regards to the last episode that we saw, I don't know, you guys, I am slowly but surely losing faith in this season. I'm really hoping that we get to see a lot more drama. I feel like we're seeing a ton of things that are just curated, and I feel like we're seeing exactly what they want us to see, which, yes, I see in one breath why the Kardashians want us to see only what they want us to see, but at the same time, I'm not really seeing anything that I feel like we're learning new information about. I'm a little concerned at how much support we're seeing of Tristan and that whole situation, and we'll unpack that even as we break down this trailer. But as of right now, I am much more a fan of the earlier seasons of this version of the Kardashians on Hulu. So fingers crossed, we still have a long ways to go in terms of the season trickling out more episodes, but I am not thrilled thus far. But without further ado, let's break down this upcoming trailer for this brand new episode.
Next on The Kardashians. Soccer moms unite. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Look how cool this is. Our boys love soccer. It is so exciting to be in the stadium. It's such an amazing bonding experience.
All right, so it looks like the kids are attending some soccer sporting events. Now, what I think is going to be really interesting about this is, if you guys remember, we saw a lot of different headlines about how Kim was frequenting sporting events and then she was not being welcomed at all. I think both of the teams that she saw the soccer games for actually lost their soccer games, and they basically rolled Kim as being a really bad luck charm. So I'm kind of really excited to see how this plays out. I think it's funny that she's so eager and so excited, especially because we know how things ended up turning around for Kim. So hopefully we get a little bit more insight as to that side of things. But regardless, I'd like to see her taking the kids out. I like to see that they're enjoying themselves and that they're able to go to a soccer game quite like this. Also, I remember growing up and going and seeing a soccer game at a park. So this is definitely the celebrity status treatment for getting a soccer game in with family and friends. But I think it's going to be interesting to be able to see how this unfolds, but it looks fun. You know, we're not seeing anything rambunctious here. We're definitely seeing a lot of feel-good family moments. Also, just a side note, I love the fact that it seems like she flew out a couple of the soccer moms that are just joining her for this trip. I mean, look at these ladies. Imagine being one of these people that's not only invited on a private jet, but they're invited to party with Kim Kardashian for the weekend. Bring your kids, see a soccer game. Again, A-lister treatment. And this woman especially, she is here for it. Look at that face. That is so fun. So good for them. But let's move on to the next clip.
Are you ever lonely?
Yeah, all the time.
Aww.
I would love to go to a matchmaker for you.
So may the best girl win.
Hello.
Don't you feel like we work for The Bachelor? I know it's a little intimidating, but just, we don't bite, I promise. I believe in love.
Kris Jenner, this woman this season is just, she is so funny. I don't know. She has her hand in everything. We already know this. We saw in the last episode that she was having her hand in Tristan and his career. Now she is meddling into Scott's life and she's going to situate a matchmaking situation. I think that this is so funny. I love that they're still managing to just bring Scott into this show in any way possible. You know, I half wonder if he is really that lonely. I mean, he's Scott Disick. I'm sure that he could have a lot of different people if he's wanting them. So I don't feel like he needs a matchmaking situation. I feel like this is very much for the storyline and very much production encouraged. However, the fact that Kris is just taking the time away from being Kris Jenner to make sure that Scott Disick is going to potentially get set up is just, you know, I mean, isn't that what family does? I love to see it. And I love to see all of these girls too. They all look slightly petrified, but eager. And that's the best part. She looks excited. I will give it to her. She looks excited. She looks confident. She looks like she's willing to step in and get this job situated. But I can't believe that Kris Jenner's doing this. I'm excited to get more context into this and into just Scott wanting to not be lonely anymore, which I didn't realize he was. But again, if this isn't what family does for one another, I love it. I think this is very funny. I'm very excited for this part of the episode. Also, maybe, just maybe, Scott is going to get matched with someone who is a little bit closer to his age. I mean, we see that his type and what he's been able to date post Courtney has definitely been younger, the younger models. He's definitely taken after Leonardo DiCaprio in terms of that. He's definitely going for a bunch of girls that are in their mid 20s, give or take. So hopefully, he is pushing 40. He mentioned that in the last episode. Hopefully we see Scott getting to be with somebody that's a little bit closer to his age. And also, maybe he's ready to settle down again. Maybe he's really ready to give that a shot. So maybe this is something very good for Lord Disick himself. I guess we will have to see. All right, let's go on to our next clip.
Malika and I just landed near Pelican Bay prison. We're gonna meet with people that had like life sentences.
Even a butter knife in prison, something like that, you will be in those little ass.
All right, so we see Kim going to Pelican Bay. Now this is a prison, and she's taking Malika, which I thought that was very interesting. I feel like we have not seen Malika in a minute, so I'm glad to see her again. I wouldn't expect for her to take Malika, so I'm curious to know why she specifically chose her, or if maybe she just needed somebody to go with, and maybe Malika was the only one free to go, and production was like, oh, we haven't seen her in a minute. Again, not really sure why she was the one to attend, but I'm personally fascinated in seeing the more lawyer side of Kim. I think it's definitely an interesting side of her that I constantly forget about, and the prison reform passion that she has. Again, I feel like really this season she is really, really making a fair effort and a fair attempt to try and show us that side of her. So, I'm curious to see and learn more about this. And again, I'm really shocked that Malika's there, and I'm really wanting to know why it is that Malika is specifically the one that is there with her for this particular event that we're seeing in the show. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see exactly what the conversations entail. So let's go on to our next.
Cages that you saw.
Whenever you're ready to admit to me that you up big time with me,
I did not up big time.
I've never heard. We put a Band-Aid over a bullet hole.
No, you misunderstood. You're just somewhere else. You're spiraling.
All right, so here we see that she is talking about a Band-Aid over a bullet hole, which I definitely agree that that's kind of what happened in regards to Tristan and obviously all of the mistakes that were made. I'm assuming that this conversation is definitely about Tristan. I don't love that she told Khloé that she was spiraling with the hand gesture. I feel like that's a really intense thing to say. I mean, we saw in the last episode that obviously we can tell that this family is starting to really get close to Tristan again. And I think that Khloé's trying her hardest to keep herself at arm's distance and to just be a co-parent. But that's got to be hard when you have your own mom with giving him a huge position at ESPN after she pulled strings. I'm really wondering too how much Khloé actually knew that was going on. I wonder if Kris ran that by her. I wonder if that was just something that she just kind of did and just assumed that Khloé would be okay with because that's the father of her kids. I really am curious to hear how this conversation goes. I feel like it's going to definitely be tense and intense. And overall, I really feel bad for Khloé because I think, and I love Kris Jenner through and through, but I don't believe that she's correct with this particular stance of just wanting to defend Tristan and wanting to just sympathize and rationalize all of these mistakes and just pretend like they didn't happen, because you can make a mistake as a human being, but there's a threshold that Tristan Thompson has just crossed that is just not surpassable in my personal opinion. So we'll see how this conversation goes. But I really definitely think that this is going to be a heated moment. And I'm really personally looking forward to seeing how this plays out on camera for sure in this episode. So without further ado, let's wrap it up with our last clip.
I think we have more things to work out. Where I am at with Tristan has nothing to do with what I expect my family members to do. What was mindset when you cheated?
You're asking me?
Who the else am I talking to?
So this is quite a way to end a trailer. I think that there is so much to unpack here. So as we know, Kris Jenner cheated on her husband, Robert Kardashian, back in the day. And this is very public knowledge. Now, I think it's very interesting that Khloé brought this up in this particular clip, and obviously she brought it up in the show. That's what we're seeing a clip of. But I'm curious to know what exactly Kris is going to say in response to that, you know. And obviously it plays a big part as to probably why she is wanting Tristan to be given a second chance, because she can, to a certain degree, empathize and sympathize with the situation. What I don't think is very understandable, though, is it's the amount of the repeat offenses that have taken place. You know, I think that that is where Khloé is ultimately drawing the line when it comes to all of the situations that Tristan has caused her and all of the pain that she's been caused as well. Also, keep in mind, you know, this is going to be a very dense conversation. There's going to be a lot of information, um, despite how much Kris really chooses to divulge or not, because there's also this rumor, obviously, with Khloé potentially being the daughter of obviously Kris Jenner and not Robert Kardashian of OJ. So there's a lot to unpack here. I'm very curious to just hear what these two have to say and to see how this conversation goes. And I'm really glad that Khloé overall, you know, we saw this in the last clip and we're seeing it here. She has the ability to confront Kris on this and to really see where she stands and to be able to hear her out. And I think that it's really important too, as an audience member, we need to see where Kris is coming from, because it really doesn't make any type of sense. And just because we see where she's coming from doesn't mean that it's excusable. But at least everybody, starting with Khloé, ending with the audience, at least we're all getting some insight as to why it is that she's acting the way that she's acting when it comes to Tristan, and just seemingly pushing towards forgiving him. And I feel like she really wants for him to be able to get back with Khloé. And I think that she really is on Tristan's team at the end of the day. And I think that, you know, out of these two, she's picking Tristan and she's not picking her own daughter. And I really wish she would pick her own daughter, because I think that Khloé is just very well justified. But let me know all of your thoughts on the trailer that we just saw for this upcoming episode. Let me know any key moments that you guys are looking forward to, any key conversations. Make sure that you guys go ahead and leave that down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for just tuning into this recap and for watching. Make sure that you guys go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already. Make sure that you subscribe to us here at Shared News with those notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. As always, I'm your host, Hannah Fletcher. You guys can follow me on social media. My handle will be right there on the screen. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.